Welcome to Center Heist Productions. This is the Steel Curtain episode for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which our football is falling under our hockey channel for the time being. So, with that being said, could you please hit the likes and the subscribes down below in your right-hand corner? We could muchly use them, and we would appreciate it. Let's try to get 100 likes if we could, please. Subscriptions would be great. We just want to move this channel forward. All right, this is about the recap, revisiting the 49ers Steelers game yesterday afternoon at 1 p.m. Well, we knew this was going to be the measuring stick of how well and where the Steelers sat. Well, I think we found out the hard way. We looked a lot better in training camp and or preseason. And that's what gets me about preseason. I don't like it because you don't get to see the starters on the field enough from both squads. So you're not getting a true representation of what condition your team really is in. So with that being said, wow, what the hell happened to us yesterday? Have we stepped that much farther back? Because I'm going to tell you, I have to look at that linebacker crew. And I almost think we took a step backwards without Spillane and Bush. And I thought, if anything, the way they were talking was we took a step forward. Well, on a measuring stick and a grade, I was actually trying to pump up, my team. My expectation wise, I'm sorry. After this display, a disgrace from the moment this game started, we were behind the eight ball. And I got to say, I really have to wonder. I don't care what Kenny Pickett and some of these youngsters think. I don't think Matt Canada is the man for that offense. However, this was not a case of just the offense. We failed in every aspect and department of the game. So, Mike Tomlin, you got big trouble on your hands. Colin, you got big trouble on your hands. There's some major problems with this team. Is it a matter of cohesiveness? No, you benefit of the doubt, I suppose you could say that, but I'm sorry. I was trying to be very positive. This team's not making the playoffs. This team is not better than the team last year from the looks of it. Now, the benefit of the doubt, let's hope they come back and surprise us. They got the Browns next week. I watched the Browns play yesterday, when they took the field against the Bengals. And, everybody's been pumping up the Bengals. And I know the Bengals are a good squad. No doubt about it. I love Joe Burrows. But that Browns team is stacked. And the one thing I always said is if Watson could ever get his head back together into football, he's the best quarterback in the whole damn league. And it showed yesterday. And if that's what we got to compete against, we're not catching the Bengals and we're not catching the Browns. And from what I'm hearing is that there's been some very positive moves for the Ravens, which I did not know that to that degree. I thought maybe they would be the odd team out. Now Pittsburgh's the odd team out. If by some chance all three teams make the playoffs, it's going to be Pittsburgh. The fourth team is not going to make it. And I'm convinced, because this was a grading mark and we failed horrendously. Time of possession, oh my goodness gracious, like they had the ball like for over 31 minutes. And you can't win a football game with your opposition having the football that amount of time in a football game. Just horrendous. All I can say is look at our numbers here. Right from the get-go, Kenny Pickett, when you can't convert on third downs, it's bad enough you can't convert on third downs. You can't convert on fourth downs, of course not. You're in big trouble. And he made bad decisions right from the get-go. Mind you, that line didn't hold up very well, and protection-wise, and the running game was non-existent, as we thought that maybe we had some corrections made. It did not look any different. So I don't know if this is because that defense is so good for the 49ers. They destroyed us. McCafferty and AI, or however you pronounce his name. It was like those two players just offensively destroyed us, and then Ward and uh, Warren just totally were nemesis for the Steelers the entire game. There wasn't an aspect of this that we won at any point in time. So when you looked at it, uh, Ward was Carnavius Ward got the interception with one of the passes right at the beginning. Interception with Dante Johnson doing his famous. And I am concerned, and I've been concerned about Dante. He can have all the talent in the world, but when it comes to season games, I think we got rid of one of the wrong wide receivers. Dante has failed when the pressure's on him in season games, and I gotta say, I'm sorry to say that. You go look at his stats in the season, it's like when reality kicks in and there's an actual opposition, he's got coward mode in him. I don't know, man. I honestly think, I know Claypool had issues as far as discipline wise, with the music thing. I think they could have worked on him, and maybe he should have been kept, and Dante should have gone. So all I can say is I don't think Dante's the right choice of who we got rid of and who we kept. I think we're in bigger trouble. And for Pickens, that didn't seem to come to life in Fairmount. It didn't seem to come to life yesterday whatsoever. Um, Nothing worked. And bad decisions by Pickett, no doubt, young quarterback. You can't be throwing the ball into traffic zones the way he did. He was picking. My God, I hope things are going to get better because his decision there with that interception, it was quite clear that that was not the spot he should have picked to throw that ball. I don't care if your plan was to throw it to Johnson. If Johnson's that well covered, you're going elsewhere, and that's just automatic. I don't know the schematics of what Matt Canada is trying to do out there to hit the combination and of him and Pickett. It's not working, and I'd say I would keep the leash very short on Matt Canada because I'm sorry, the more and more we see it, hate to say it, trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And of course, we were all falling off of preseason stats and trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, that measuring stick doesn't look good, and I think we're in bigger trouble next week when we go up against the Browns because those games are nasty and that team is solid all the way through. So, yeah, first downs we had 15, they had 22. Um, we had three for run versus pass, three versus 9.3 for the running game, and pass 9 on the averages, and getting we were only gaining like 3, and they were having 8 running, 13 in passes per average. So first uh, third down conversions, we had 5 out of 15. They had 6 out of 13. You can't have that. That's 1/3 of you have to do much better on third downs. There has to be conversions. You're going to lose that ball game. And look at even the 49ers. I mean, I'll give them credit. At least theirs was at the half mark. Ours was at the third mark. Can't happen. Can't happen. At least their percentile was much better with 6 out of 13 conversions to that 239 passing yards offense in total, I guess, and 391 for the 49ers. So 61 offense and 66 for the 49ers. Rushing, this is our running game. 41. That's pathetic. That shows you there's no hope for our running backs to get anywhere. That line's not doing the job. 41. 41 rushing yards. It's not fixed. How is Harris and Warren going to shine with those type of numbers? Something's majorly wrong. and then they had 188. I mean, they just blew us away in that department in rushing. They killed us in rushing yards. They ran it with McCafferty, just ate us alive with the running game. They could not, our Steelers could not contain him, and we did a better job. And that's what I'm saying. I'm a little concerned with, at least with Spillane and Bush. I hate to say this, there seemed to be a better containment on those type of star players. And I didn't see that from yesterday's results. From what I could see at the highlights, they were eating us up on that in that department. Our linebacker, I'm very concerned with the linebacker crew. I'm not convinced that we upgraded. I'm thinking we may have taken some steps backwards, and quite drastic steps backwards. We should have been respectable. We weren't. The coaching in this game was not good enough, was not adequate enough. Tomlin, I'm sorry, buddy. The way this team's designed, I don't think you're going to have a winning season. It's going to be one of the first times you haven't had a winning season. But your defense looked pathetic. And I seen drastic from that linebacker crew to some of the secondary wasn't up to snuff. You can't have TJ Watt being the only positive and Fitzpatrick, Mika being the only two positives on that field for your defense. And that's pretty much what it looked like. And sorry, when a team shows up that way, you got to have a hell of a lot more going on your defense than that. They looked bad. Thank God TJ Watt manages to get his sacks, keeps that rolling, because it's personal numbers for him that are going way up, and our Steelers are just sliding. It's a desperate time in Steeler land. And then rushing plays 10 compared to their 34. We were averaging 4.1 on it. They were averaging 5.5. That's just averaging. Passing yardage 232 to their 203. So we were throwing the ball more than they were, and it wasn't that big of a number. But they weren't good decisions. We couldn't convert on third downs, and you had a couple of interceptions. Against a team like that, you cannot turn the ball over. We did, and we did it right out of the gate. We never got on our horse right from the get-go. You can't have your defense on the field as much as we. I mean, over 31 minutes that our team was on the field with our, that they had control of the ball. That's a loss. That's a recipe for a loss, period. Not even close. Then you have complete passing yardages, and 31 out of 46, 19 out of 29. So that was pretty. They did much better. Their numbers were much better. Sacks. We had 5 sacks, so we did fine. Like I say, in sacks we were good there. They had 3. Field goals, which is something we usually do half decent at. You never got Boswell the ball to kick the ball for a field goal. You've got to give the guy an opportunity to get you a field goal or two. This is how pathetic we were. We were that pathetic we couldn't get into a position to even get field goals or get the ball back with our defense. Mind you, our defense was on the field too much. And then touchdowns. 1 touchdown. We finally get it to the latter part of the game. But man, 30-7 is your final score. I was thinking, giving us the benefit of the doubt, the credit, as saying, and that's really reaching 20-17. I thought we would be respectable the way things were looking in the preseason. We weren't respectable. This is a disgrace. Yeah, and then for rush pass, 0 for 1, touchdown, that is. Touchdown, and they had 1 for 2. Turnovers, we had 2 turnovers. 1 turnover, two interceptions. And it's just a disgrace. A disgrace. This game was an utter disgrace. Purdy looked like he was the first round draft pick of a quarterback compared to Pickett. Unbelievable. Who was? Yeah, you really had to wonder. But Freddie Warner, linebacker for San Fran, he was eating us up. He did a great job of coming against in that Kittle. As tight end did a fine job for San Fran. And then Ayuk was, like I said, Ayuk and McCafferty were just, it was like those two single handedly destroyed the Steelers. We couldn't contain either one of them. And that's pretty sad. And then, on the secondary side, Charvarius Ward just with the interception doing their stuff. So that's the way the game went. I would say Steelers fan, we're in for a long season. I don't know. Let's pray to God that this was just one of those games, but I hate to say this because that's a great evaluation game of where you stand, knowing that you're up against the best defense in the league. It showed, but they also showed that they had a better offense too. The maturity, the veteran aspect of the game. We just were never in it, and we were outcoached. Every facet of the game, we lost. So I got to say, my thoughts, I'm going to be back to my old self being realistic. And that is the Pittsburgh Steelers will not make the playoffs because next week they're going to lose against the Browns. This team, I seen them play, and they just really manhandled the Bengals, made them look like they just didn't belong. And the Bengals have a better squad than us. I don't want to see what the results are going to be. That's a really, really gritty talented group. So the Browns probably going to be your division leaders in my opinion, chased by the Bengals. But Burrows had a rough day. But for us, I don't know. I pray to God because to me, Matt Canada, I would give him till week 5 or 6 and see what the Steelers look like at that point, and 7 the most. And maybe it's time. I don't care what Pickett or any of the youngsters got to say when it comes to uh, coordinating the offense. They can like what they want to like because they worked with him in college. That being the case, well, if his game book is what it's showing to be, and it's not showing to be any damn better than he's done in the last 2 or 3 years, bye, bye. Let's get somebody who's qualified. But again, we got work to do, man. We've got some repair jobs. And we've seen a big turnover in this team of manpower. We might as well rebuild. This team is not nowhere near. It's almost like we got about half of the players to rebuild positions. And boy, do we got to keep working on that line because we're nowhere near out of the woods on the line. And it has to be fixed. That's got to be our priority for now. And that being said, I would also look at replacing Dante Johnson. That's just my opinion. No one's going to change it on that. Dante looks so talented when it doesn't count. When it counts, he's on his ass or drops the ball, becomes Butterfingers. Sorry. To me, that should have been one of the guys released, and they should have kept one of the other two fellows or looked for another talent. Sorry, that's just my thought. I think he's been has put us in the deficit long enough. So that's just my theory. God help us. All I can say, go, pray to God, Steelers Nation. Let's hope for the best, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. And if I was anybody in a betting world, yeah, I would bet against the Steelers. So, with that being said, I hate to say that because I love my Steelers. They sure ain't the steel curtain. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me here. Please hit the likes and subscribes. Let's try to get 100. And let's pray to God that we can rebound and at least play respectable next week. So, go Steelers Nation and go Steelers go. Wow. I don't know what else to say about this squad. But they need some leadership. There's no doubt about it. But with that being said, thank you for joining us here at Center Ice Productions and the Steel Curtain, which looked like a paper curtain yesterday. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you as we review next weekend's game. This is your review that I promised, and I will do reviews, and I'm really heartbroken, and I'm sure you all are too. Thank you for joining me. Hit the likes and subscribes. We will catch you next week. All right. God bless.